Generic greetings and welcome to Science Insanity, a channel dedicated to bringing my love of science fiction and all its hilariously stupid humor to you, the viewer. Along for the ride is my co-host and friend Steve, sci-fi mostly illiterate and comedic relief. Say hello, Steve.
Hello.
The hunt is over.
I've returned.
He is back. We finally managed to track
voluntarily.
You sure about that? I'm pretty sure he had to track you down to the remote barren wastes of Ohio and drag you back.
Hey man, I wouldn't be caught dead in Ohio. Wouldn't be caught alive either, so...
Guess what we're discussing today?
Please don't let it be Ohio.
No, we're talking about Idaho.
Oh, okay. Okay, they got some pretty good potatoes out there.
No, we are talking about Battletechs' mascot, the URBANMECH. Battletechs' resident meme machine and the most useless, ineffective joke ever created, but it's still widely loved by the community because, funny egg mech with big gun. Do you remember the URBANMECH, or do I need to get you a reference image?
Please give me a reference image.
Okay, check out Picture Printer, because boy...
Oh,
it's
my god.
It's the good mech.
Oh my god, yes. Okay, we're good.
It's fantastic. It's amazing. Isn't it beautiful? Don't you love it?
It is the one of the things I have ever laid my eyes on, certainly.
It is, in fact, one of the images of all time. But before we get into the video fully, if you'd like to support Science Insanity directly, then check out our Patreon. If space shekels are short, then like, sub, comment, share the video, all that good stuff, because every little bit helps, and the line must go up. If you want to join a community of like-minded turbo nerds, then check out Sai's Discord server. I also stream regularly, sometimes, occasionally. I stream, so check out Twitch as well if you want the once-in-a-blue-moon live-action content from Sai. And with that, let's talk about the Urbie. So, Steve, what do you think this mech was designed to do?
Is it designed to fight in urban environments? Just a guess.
Technically correct, but no, even less than that. Let me reword the question. What do you think the URBANMECH can do?
Nothing.
Technically correct again.
Is it a good spinning top? Is it like the stratosphere, the needle, whatever major city in the US wants to call it?
It is an excellent mech for making memes and serving as the comedic relief of the entire series. That's its purpose. It's a joke mech. Anyone who takes it seriously is a fool. This thing is absolutely ridiculous, and we're gonna get into why. Anything you could possibly imagine about the Urbie, any comedic thing that you can think about it from anything you know about Battletech, it has it. It's got all the jokes, and it's worse than you could possibly imagine. Let me get you another more modern, updated one that's not quite so egg-centric. Because this...
No, bring back the egg. Bring back the egg. There we go. That's more like it.
This mech has gone through so many iterations, and every single one of them is uglier than the last. It's great. So, the Urbie is an apex ambush predator. It's designed to lie in wait as long as needed before springing out and dealing the decisive killing blow. It's supposed to be an urban combat specialist that relies on the tight confines of city layouts to get into position and bring its heavy weapons on target. The only problem is that, like I said, everything from minute one was a mistake with the Urbie. It was all a disaster. Let's start out a little bit with the stats before we delve into it in more detail further, because it's really, really funny, and funny in the sad kind of way where you have two options, which are cry or laugh, and you chose to laugh. This mech is awful. Truly, genuinely god-awful. Like I said, people love to meme and joke about the Urbie one-shotting things with its monstrous guns, but the reality is, even with its low profile, it is an incredibly fat target, as I'm sure you can see, and while it does have an impressive amount of armor for its egg-shaped size, it is not enough, but for the most part, you know, it's meant to be used in the heart of a city where you can't maneuver almost at all. So, you know, the Urbie will perform reasonably well there, can't be outflanked or outmaneuvered, and it's got plenty of positions to hide and, you know, jump out from.
That thing ain't doing no jumping, I can tell you that much.
Oh, we'll get to that, don't worry. You are factually incorrect about that. Well, actually, no, you're not. It doesn't really do jumps, it more does, like, gremlin hops, but... well...
Gremlin hops? What?
We'll get to that. Don't worry, it's fine. You know what else benefits from urban combat? Take a wild guess with everything you know about Battletech.
When the infantry.
Amazingly, you're actually correct. You are 110% correct. infantry and heavier mechs benefit from urban combat because infantry
Was I supposed to get that one wrong? Sorry.
I mean, no. That was kind of up in the air. I was expecting you to throw out something like, oh, bigger mechs, just generally, and I had a bunch of different responses, but you actually managed to get one of them correct. Good job.
Hey, I haven't lost it yet.
But you are losing it slowly.
It's waning, yeah.
Just like your hair, it leaves a little more every day.
Hey, leave the hair out of it.
In urban settings, pretty much all heavy and assault mechs designed for them perform way better than the Urbie can, and infantry are absolutely deadly if they manage to get a setup in there. I don't remember if you were there for the infantry episode, because that was a while ago. I think you were, right?
I think I was.
Yeah, I think you were.
Pretty sure I was.
Pretty sure, before you ran away for a while. Here's an image of how the Urbie actually works in urban combat if it has to go attack things, rather than just waiting in a ditch for something to come to it, right? The Urbie runs around a corner with its AC-20, the big funny gun, derps around the corner of a museum, only to come face to face with some awesome, or a Warhammer, or an Atlas, or something even scarier than those, or even like big medium mechs like a Centurion or an Enforcer. And that poor Urbie is going to fire off 1, maybe 2 shots, and then become that museum's new display exhibit faster than the pilot can shit himself from the return fire. And the worst part is that it's built for urban combat. You know what urban combat is really good at doing?
Turning things into proper fights? I don't know.
Well, yeah, turning things into proper fights, but also wasting all of your goddamn ammunition. Have you seen how many artillery shells and how many bullets are fired in your average urban engagement? It's basically never...
Punch.
Yeah, like it's basically never-ending gunfire. And the urban mech has, at the best of times...
Seems to be a slight issue there.
Yeah, it's a bit of an issue. Some of the versions of the Urbie that load missiles have 1 shot, and then they're out of ammo.
Very well designed.
Beautifully designed. And, a big part of urban combat is repositioning. If somebody figures out your position, they're going to start calling in artillery on you, and it's probably a good idea to get out of there. The urban mech can't move. It's so slow. It is so painfully slow that I'm going to throw the ball back into your court. How fast do you think it can move?
In negative miles per hour.
There is something negative about it, which we'll get into later, which kind of breaks physics and is really funny, but give me like an actual number.
I can guarantee you it's not the weight.
No.
We're gonna say 15 kilometers an hour.
Oh, you're so close. It's just a little bit faster. Its walking speed
16.
Its walking speed is 20 kph, which, fun fact, Olympic sprinters can outrun the Urbie just on foot. Usain Bolt runs at like 24. So people, like athletes at the top of their game, can straight up outrun this thing if they're just sprinting down the road. If the Urbie...
Seems pretty good.
Yeah, if the Urbie really piles on the pressure there and it's really hoofing it, it can get up to like 32, but even that's not particularly fast, and it can be outrun by like a good athlete on a bicycle or a motorcycle or like any vehicle that can move straight out. It is so...
Any vehicles that can move. Sir, I believe you're forgetting the Bob Simple tank.
Okay, well, to be fair, the Bob Semple is the real-life Urbie, so it stacks.
Okay.
It's just a big brick with a few guns on it. So, to try, and I do mean try, because it didn't succeed, to make up for this, the urban mech has jump jets. Good old-fashioned rockets to try to yeet this thing faster than it can run. So remember how I said it can't really jump, but it can gremlin hop?
Yeah.
Yeah, it can barely move when it's using the jump jets. It is an absolute joke of a mech. It's so funny. It's so funny. Battletech design at its finest. If your mech is too slow, slap rockets to it. Does it actually fix the problem? No? Well, it doesn't matter. Just say problem solved on the drawing board and be done with it. Before we get into the stats proper, because this is just laughing at things that it can't do properly, let's talk a little bit about the design history, get a little bit more serious before we jump back into the trash can bashing. So this video is going to make people so mad since we're essentially shitting on like the franchise's mascot.
I can go, I'm gonna be nice to him. I'm not gonna say anything.
Fair enough. So, the Urbie was designed in 2675, around a century before the Star League died and everyone decided to start fighting each other for like 400 years. The urban mech was conceived to do exactly what its name suggests. Fight in urban environments. This was also the era of mech design where every company and their mother was selling the Star League Jack and Dick worth of quality battle mechs. Basically, the Star League was buying literally everything, US defense budget and 1,000,000,001 contractors all proposing stuff, and the Star League went, yeah, just give me all of it. And so you have an era where the Star League is pouring unbelievable amounts of money into weapons development and advancement, and they're basically just buying everything, regardless of if it's awful. This meant that the Star League was essentially building up huge stockpiles of absolute trash. You did get stuff sometimes like the Marauder, which is genuinely an amazing battle mech and one of my favorite ever, but this is the environment that the Urbie was designed into. Essentially, the Urbie was supposed to give more time for heavier elements and reinforcements to get into position, while hitting the enemy hard enough to actually do something of note. Most other light mechs by this point were focused either exclusively on scouting, some of which literally didn't even have weapons on the light mech, which is really funny, or flanking and harassment. By being a light mech capable of actually fighting toe-to-toe with larger mechs, even if only for a limited time, it was thought that the Urbie would fill a missing and vital battlefield role. It did not. The designers... It did not. The designers were wrong, and thus, crackhead R2-D2 was born. Coming in...
Bro did it to him.
Coming in at 30 tons, the Urbie is on the chunkier side of light mechs, but not quite the heaviest, which goes up to 35 tonners like the Jenner, if I remember correctly, which is actually a really good light mech that's on the heavier side, meant to fight things. The Urbie also came with 6 tons of armor, which is actually a lot. It put it on par with much larger mechs in the medium weight category, and to trade blows, the Urbie also carried some really big weapons. Like I mentioned, the Urbie was supposed to actually do damage, not just harmlessly plink machine gun rounds off their armor. To that end, the default loadout for the trash can was an autocannon 10 and the Clanner Special, a small anti-pigeon laser. The big gun on the right arm and the anti-pigeon laser in the left arm. Yeah, you see that tiny little gun on the side in all of the images?
We love the anti-pigeon laser.
You know, believe it or not, that's supposed to be for anti-infantry work. To protect the urban...
Pigeons. Don't you know pigeons are the biggest threat in urban warfare?
Absolutely. By the way, just a random aside, people like the urban mechs so much that there's actually a box set you can buy with 12 of them.
Well, I mean, you know, people are always entitled to have wrong opinions.
It's fantastic. It's like, yes, an entire lance of 4 urban mechs filling out a total combat squad. Nah, it's not enough. Give me 3 times that number. Like, okay, this is a genuine question for hobbyists. Which crazy fucker out there, which one of you needs 12 urban mechs in one package? And there are images on Google of people that have 24. Which one of you needs 24 urban mechs? What are you doing with them all? Here's a dude who literally just painted the rainbow in urban mechs. Are these like your version of paint chips from the hardware store? You can compare colors for all your future builds? Like, what is the point of this?
That's not a bad idea, honestly. He may be onto something there.
Actually, you know what? As someone who's into Warhammer 40k, yeah, that's not actually too unreasonable. By the way, here's another image of the urban mech and a dude cosplaying as the urban mech. I love that image. It's great.
That might be one of the most cursed images of all time. I don't know.
it's pretty good. Yes, the anti-pigeon laser. So, for the most part, there are a lot of variations on what the Urbie can carry, but that's pretty much how it always looks. Big weapon in the right, small one in the left. Some of the weapon swaps were more boring, like changing the regular single-shot breech-loading AC-10 for the semi-auto Ultra variant or the shotgun LBX version of the same gun, and those are pretty boring, happen all the time. The autocannon was most common, as the urban mech didn't have other weapon hardpoints, so swapping it out would require a partial rebuild of the mech. This was done, but only for a few hilarious circumstances. Let me get those examples for you, because oh boy, do I got some images for you. So, actually, you know what? Hang on. I have a better reference image that I can grab to explain what these rebuilds were. Where is my Timberwolf? So, that's the Timberwolf. You see those massive missile launchers on the side?
Yes.
Imagine strapping one of those to an urban mech, and that gives you this absolute beautiful monster.
Oh my god. I am
It's so good.
Yeah, I got nothing.
And the funny thing is, that's not even the biggest one. That's 20 missiles. That's only 20. The URBANMECH version of it has 30, so you add like another 2 rows of missiles onto that thing, and you get how big it actually is in lore. It's so good. And there's versions of it that just completely give up. They just go, nah, fuck it, with the multiple weapons. It's just a colossal attachment on the side with like 3 warheads, 4 warheads. That's the Arrow 4. Normally, you only find that missile launcher on, like, artillery vehicles or really, really, really big battle mechs, but, you know, the URBANMECH's a meme, so they just toss it on, it'll be fine. The URBANMECH is the definition, or it has the fattest fuck around and find out energy in all of Battletech. It's designed and looks like such a joke. In fact, I'm pretty sure the Urbie proves that, like, the smaller something is, the more violent it is, since all that anger at existence has less space to fit in. Moving on to more raw stats, let's talk about the engine. Remember how I said there's going to be some negative stuff in here? What do you think powers the engine? How heavy?
Negative energy.
Congratulations, you're 110% correct.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Look
so
at me.
it has the smallest engine in BattleTech, as far as I'm aware, just straight up. So powering this thing to move at its blisteringly slow speeds is a Lennox pattern 60 rating engine. The smallest engine is a 100 rating on literally everything else. Like, the smallest commercially available engine is twice as big. This engine is magic. This is not canon, but it shows up in a video game, so it's official. In MechWarrior Online, the Urbie's engine is so small, it breaks physics. It has a negative weight. It makes the mech lighter when you install it, freeing up more space for bigger weapons.
That's pretty good.
Dude, this thing is magic. It literally breaks physics. You add more shit onto it and it gets lighter. It's so good. Which begs the question, why couldn't you just keep slapping that engine onto it over and over until you've made it, like, actually negative weight?
You see, there's a slight issue with that, though, because,
Why not? Just keep adding legs like a centipede and putting more engines.
Is this the new tech?
The urban train. It's just like 20 pairs of legs with 10 pairs of upper torsos on top. It's like an armored train. It just walks around the city. Oh god. Okay, whatever artist you were, I can't remember your name off the top of my head, who built the Psy Technical, please, can you design the urban train, please? It'll be funny, I promise.
I promise it'll be funny. Oh my god.
It'll be worth your time, I promise. Oh god.
Trust.
Trust. So, moving on to why the Urbie survived as long as it did, because it survived the Warring States period, basically, and it survived the clan invasion, and it survived the Dark Age that happened afterwards. You wanna take a wild guess why it survived so long in the lore?
Because you couldn't, I don't know.
So the actual reason, legitimately, is, for the most part, people forgot it existed or just straight up ignored it.
Yeah, okay.
So when the successor state generals were building their armies and beefing up their supply chains, the Urbie would always be that kid left out at the end that raises his hand and is like, "Coach, you forgot about me. I'm not on the list. Nobody picked me." And every single time, said general would pinch the bridge of his nose, sigh heavily, and just put them all in garrison or reserve because they couldn't do anything else. The URBANMECH...
Okay.
The URBANMECH did perform well on the defensive when in urban environments, but the issue was that was all it was good at, and you can do the same thing with multiple other far more versatile weapon systems. So, because of the aforementioned slow speed and the jump jets being not enough to make up for it, if the Urbie was trying to attack into an enemy city, it was food. It was literally just farmed for XP by the defending infantry. If it got caught up in an ambush by the enemy infantry, it couldn't kill them fast enough and couldn't run away, so it died. It would literally be walking down a street, and then from all the buildings, they would pull an ambush. Then from all the buildings, they would pull an attack. They'd literally lean out the windows with their RPGs and their missile launchers and just blow the Urbie to hell. It could not attack. And since the Urbie only had 2 minutes of ammo, it basically gets one ambush off, then it has to run all the way to the back lines to rearm itself. It was extremely inefficient at basically everything it could do. Also, it can't run away, and it's a giant walking egg, so once you see it, it's almost impossible to unsee it. I mean, come on, look at it.
Impossible to unsee it. Okay.
Come on, tell me I'm wrong. Tell me if you saw this thing.
You're wrong. You're wrong. Oh, sorry. Did you want like actual opinion? Or...
It's impossible to unsee the Urbie. Fact. And for the most part, this meant that despite the Urbie's home factory being destroyed for no particular reason, I think it was just there and someone thought it would be funny to blow it up, it survived in huge numbers through the entirety of basically all of Battletech and even beyond. This mech is a cockroach. It just refuses to die. And fun fact, actually, I think I have the image here. Ah, I do! The Urban Lord.
Okay.
So this is a joke. This is a joke, by the way. This is a community meme. It's called the Urban Lord, which is a 100-ton assault mech version of the Urbie. It's even slower, but it has so much armor that it's basically the 2 next biggest assault mechs put together, and it has an insane number of guns, like multiple of the biggest guns in the setting, plus multiple of the biggest energy weapons in the setting. It's basically a walking bunker. It is a stationary fortification put on legs, walking around at you.
Make that specific one the train.
I really hope someone draws that. It'll be so funny. There's one last thing that we're going to joke about before we kind of end off the video on the Urbie. There was one faction which used this mech prodigiously, like all the time. We had a very obvious hint to it earlier. You want to take a wild guess which faction actually used this thing?
Capellans.
Of course it's the Capellans. It's always the Capellans. It would be. The Capellans were literally responsible for like 2/3 of all urban mech usage on the battlefield. The last third being from the Federated Sons. And the only reason they used them is because every time the Federated Sons kicked the Capellans' ass, they would steal like all... Bunch. Yeah, they would capture a bunch of them. Literally, it says that in the lore, on the wiki. Like, the reason the Federated Sons use the Urban Mech is because they keep capturing them from the Capellans. And that is pretty much it. This mech is so dumb. It's the mascot of Battletech, and everyone loves it despite the fact that it is one of the most useless junkers ever made and exists purely for meme potential. Oh, wait, Nerbies. Nerbies. Hang on. Let me see if I can find one of these to show you. Come on, give me a higher res image. I'm begging you, internet, please. God, it's so frustrating. Can you just... Yes, there we go. The nuclear Urbie. They put nuclear missiles on it. It's one of the only battle mechs. It's so dumb. This is such a stupid mech. I hate it. Okay, so that is pretty much the end of the video. Patron thanks time. It's been a while.
David Gabe.
He remembers. We have a lot more patrons now. Do you know any of them?
Hold on.
Don't look it up.
Discord.
You're looking at the Discord.
No, I was not looking at Discord when I said any of those.
Okay, all right.
Oh yeah, there's the other David Gabe. The other David G. I'm sorry.
We've agreed that doesn't count because they have the same name.
Oh, no, it counts.
So, thank you very much to all of the patrons supporting the channel, with a special thanks to the $5 tier patrons. David G, Augie, 11 Bravo Crunchy, Terry Higgins, Pedro Munaz, David G, The Other One, Silencer, Vox Apollyon, Phoenix, BT Legends, Electroboy 11, Logan Maynard, Mickey, David Armand, Creedome, Robin Stappet, Fenrir Striker, Tachi Tukane, He's Deb, Pixie, Vertus, Fabric445, Anchovy Bob, Your Name Is Still Disgusting, Mini Crustacean, Charles the Snep, and Polly. Thank you very much for your support. I hope it'll continue in the future. And don't laugh at me. Everyone knows anchovies are disgusting. It's a fake food. I don't believe anybody eats them. It's not real.
It's a fake food. That's a statement. I don't eat seafood, so I mean.
fish aren't real? You mean to tell me someone launches a wire into the ocean and pulls out a fillet of fish? Please, shut up. I know these lies.
McDonald's moment. McDonald's moment.